person are joining in, I remind that this session is also being broadcasted live at the Facebook of the Algarve Tech Hub Association. This maiden conference, Disrupt, it's composed by three different parts. We are on the inspiration sessions. We will later on carry to the ideation moment. The following day, we will have lessons and labs on how to develop your business idea, your startup idea that you've developed during the first day. And the third day, we'll be having a startup competition, and we'll be awarding the most innovative startups presenting. So without much further ado, I pass the introduction to Joaquim Nascimento, which is the panel moderator, and he will take it from there. Thank you so much, Joaquim.
Thank you, Josh. Welcome to all of you, all here in the Algarve and also attending online. We have a very interesting session today on smart destinations. So it's a very relevant topic for the Algarve Tech Summit and for the Algarve region as well. Basically, we're going to explore how technology can help sustainable growth in the Algarve, and also how can technology enable productivity in the tourism sector, and also help provide visitors with a better experience, linking all the different stakeholders, being hotels, being tour providers, transport providers, local businesses, the local government, etc. And we have an excellent panel to help us out. With me, I have Sandro Batista. Hi, Sandro. He is managing partner at Focus BC. He works in innovation, and he has co-founded technology companies like Focus BC and Mapify as well. He's a lecturer and a director of the Founder Institute Portugal. And he's going to focus on platforms, technology, and collaboration and innovation applied to smart destinations. Right? So he's going to be our smart cities expert. And then we'll have online Professor Dimitrios Buhalis. He's a specialist in tourism, travel, hospitality, and the leisure industries. He's teaching in Hong Kong and in the UK. And he's also director of several tourism bodies, including he's editor-in-chief of the Tourism Review Hong Kong, and he's also editor of the Encyclopedia of Tourism Management and Marketing. So he's going to focus on smart tourism, right? Again, very relevant for us. And then finally, we'll have joining David González. He's a group head of big data and artificial intelligence at Vodafone Business. And he has been working on data-driven digital solutions with Vodafone. He's also a member of the European Commission Data Expert Group. And before joining Vodafone, he has been working on several tech companies, and was also a big data scientist at Accenture. So he's going to be our expert on smart data. So we'll have smart cities with Sandro, smart tourism with Professor Dimitrios, and smart data with David. So firstly, Sandro, yeah, if you can start.
Okay. So thank you.
É melhor ligar já.
Okay, so let's go. I was looking a lot about definitions of smart destinations, or what is the smart destinations, and why we will talk about that. And so I found a lot of definitions of smart cities, of smart destinations. So I made this word a map with all the words, and as you can see, this is a lot of pieces that together will enable new tourists, better tourism, a better offer, and at the end, sustainability in some smart cities. All of that is enabled by technology, by experiences, by very, very local experiences and also regional experiences. And of course, that it's very, very important to look into environment, sustainability. So this is a bit the main concepts when we talk about smart destination. In a city, there are a lot of areas that you can that the technology can improve and give a better life for the citizens. For instance, mobility. Like a few years ago, we didn't have a lot of soft mobility, like the bikes and also the scooters. Today, we have a lot of them, and some problems that they also bring to the cities. And it's not easy to manage all of these areas without the technology. But not only the technology, but also the data. So I don't know if you probably you have an idea, and David will talk more about that. But today we have a lot of data coming in from multiple sensors. It's from the people, from the even for the bikes, from public transportation, from a lot of sensors that are always connecting and send data to data centers. And it's not easy to manage that in an easy way. If we can look to a platform where we can connect all of this data, we have different kinds of data that are main systems that are already in place in the municipalities or in local authorities. But again, the IoT sensors. So right now you have a lot. Imagine the camera feeds that are looking, for instance, for the parking lots, to see if a parking lot is free, it's available or not. That's a lot of data, and now even more with the 5G platform, there's always a lot of data incoming. And the idea is to try to manage that data, of course, and to bring and to get insights of that data. Without insights, we cannot take action. So, and without action, we cannot improve our territory, to bring more tourists, to give them better experiences. I have an example from the city of Helsinki. Helsinki, the open data coming from there, and
Too many pop-ups. Pop-ups are blocking the sound thing. There we go.
Yeah.
You were around here.
Restart.
Okay, can you hear now?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So this is the city of Helsinki. Just have a lot of sensors in all their public transportation vehicles, such as the bus, the trams, even the boats. So everything is sending messages each second. And what they did, they opened their data for other companies or entrepreneurs to build their solutions based on that data. As you can imagine, this is a lot of information because it's real-time information. We are talking about processing around 10,000 messages each second of positions of, and not only the moving vehicles as well as some alerts like if the bus is okay, if it's not okay, if it's entering in a safety area or not, or if it has some problem. And what we did, we just built a product, Mapify, that allows entrepreneurs or other companies to handle this kind of information in real time. So if you want to do an application like this, you can build it like in 5 minutes or something. So this is a simple example of what you can do with that data without the needs of code or big systems or things like that. So just to finish, we are in an area of the smart cities that we have a lot of data. There are a lot of business that are building products and solutions specific for local authorities, even for the government. And in the end, we need to handle that data to generate good insights to improve our cities and to bring more tourists.
Very good. Thank you very much, Sandro. Very helpful. Now I would pass along to Professor Dimitrios. Jorge. Yeah, perfect. Thank you.
Hello, great to speak to you all the way from Hong Kong. And I'll say my best Portuguese expression is Bom dia, alegria. Fantastic to be back in Algarve and in Portugal. I love Portugal. I've been many times. My home in Portugal is Aveiro, of course, but I'm more than happy to be in Portugal anytime you can invite us. I'd like to go through a few slides. I'll try to go very quickly. And I'd like to show you some of the latest research in smart tourism. A lot of people are talking about smart tourism, but quite often I don't think that they're very accurate on what they are describing as smart tourism. If you can allow me to share my screen, I'll be able to send you the presentation, to show you the presentation. Please make me a co-host. Thank you so much. Thank you. I'm good. Okay. That's fine. Thank you very much. And hopefully you should be able to see my screen now. Yeah? Thank you so much. Okay. All right. Okay. So I've been spending a lot of time looking to smart tourism, and both in my capacity as a researcher and author, but also in my capacity as the editor of the Tourism Review and the Encyclopedia of Tourism Management and Marketing. And one of the things that came out in the Encyclopedia of Tourism Management and Marketing is is what we call the tourism pyramid. And the tourism pyramid is, you've got here the tourism system that's very well established based on Lipia, where you've got the tourism generating region and you've got the destination region, and then you've got the transit region in the middle that's doing all the communications. But then what we have is that this is based on a pyramid of the tourism system that's primarily on planning, management, and strategy, market forces, exogenous variables, and technology and the infrastructure, where everything plugs and plays and the entire system operates. I'm going to go quickly through the slides because I only have 10 minutes, but I'm giving you reference so you can see them later. You can take a picture, or I'm going to send you this presentation afterwards so you can spend the time looking through these things. We've been going through horrendous years in tourism. Those last 2 years has been absolutely horrible, and the future is still looking a little bit bleak with the war in Ukraine and the cost that will create for flights and for operations of hotels and everything. That has got in, and for, so obviously I'm coming from Greece, so I'll have any opportunity to actually advertise this, but we still have all the assets that are there to be explored in tourism. Now, when we're talking about smartness and smart tourism, it's really about interconnectivity, interoperability of integrated technologies to re-engineer process and data in order to produce innovative services, products, and procedures towards maximizing the value for all the stakeholders. Smartness is not about technology and it's not about automation. Smartness is about re-engineering everything we do, and it's really about managing the network, the entire ecosystem collectively in a very clever way. And I think that is the huge opportunity that we've got in smartness in tourism. It takes advantage of networks through interoperability and interconnectivity, the Internet of Things and the Internet of Everything, sensors and beacons, big data, data analytics, social media, Web 2, user-generated content, and everything else that enable us to co-create experiences, bringing all the stakeholders together and making sure that everybody benefits. Now, when we see consumers, we see that consumers, when they are traveling, they are having different kind of contacts, and they operate in two phases. They operate on the face-to-face social contact, where they speak with other people, they speak with the destination, they speak with the service providers, the restaurants, the hotels, and everything face-to-face. But at the same time, they are still connected, and they're using all kinds of social media and all kinds of connectivity to speak to a lot of other people, family members, friends, colleagues, relatives, local residents, DMOs, everywhere. So this kind of schizophrenic behavior that we see in the last 10 years is now going to a next stage with metaverse, because metaverse will kind of facilitate dual living wherever we are, digital and analog. And a lot of, this is my latest book on gamification, because a lot of the tools are coming out through gamification, so people can go around and enjoy different things. Now, most of the smartness is based on big data, and the big data in tourism is very complicated because we don't operate alone. We operate in a very interconnected network of an ecosystem that really takes advantage of a whole range of different players at the same time. So we really need to understand what data do we need, where are the data, whether the data is in silos or whether we can have access to all of these things as we're going ahead and manage them at the same time. Now, one of the things that really excites me is that real-time co-creation and what we call nowness, which is really about understanding what's happening in this particular moment in a context and optimizing the entire ecosystem to provide the right value and the right products and services to consumers. And my argument is that nowness is actually creating a third competitive advantage. So we are not going to have only price and differentiation, either going to be cheaper or very different, but we're going to have a competitive advantage that is based on instant gratification. We'll understand what you need right now, and we'll deliver that right now to your context. So in Hong Kong right now, it's 10 minutes past 6. People are preparing to go for dinner. In your time, you probably have coffee. So we coexist, and we've got about 10,000 kilometers distance, but we've got very different needs. So instant gratification will be absolutely critical. It will be data-driven, consumer-centric, experience-enhancing, real-time, and will drive to co-creation of experiences. Now, what we have is customers and users being right in the middle, and then you've got a range of different technologies around them. So the Internet of Things, the Internet of Everything, different kind of connectivity, 5G, RFID, mobile devices, smart phones and wearables, APIs, cryptocurrency and blockchains, sensors and beacons, pervasive computing, gamification, and artificial intelligence and machine learning. All of these things will be working in synchrony, not only with the user, because the user will have all this data, but it's going to go out in the cloud in real time. It's going to come back as a service as people are going through different places. And now we're looking to destinations, and destinations like Portugal, Algarve, different places, will need to understand how everything is operating and to understand what is nowness and how the destination can actually manage all this data in real time. Here we're looking into interoperability, intelligence, and interconnectivity, and we're using a range of different systems to actually manage the destination in real time based on the situation that you've got at this particular moment. I know I've gone through very quickly a lot of those things. This is a list of publications of the research I've been doing for the last 30 years, and I'll be very happy to take questions. Thank you very much. Obrigadíssimo.
Thank you very much. We'll have time for a few questions in a minute, but I'm just wondering if David has joined already.
Yes, David has joined.
Perfect.
I'm not sure if he's able to listen to us. David?
Yes, hello. Good morning.
Hi, David. Thank you for joining. So you're on.
Perfect. So I'll get started. I'm also going to show you some examples. Yeah, I'll get to it. Okay. So I'll stick also to the 10 minutes that I have. I just want to show you some examples of what we do in Vodafone Business using data and impacting smart tourism, showing different examples across Europe. And also I'll do a really quick 1-minute demo to also illustrate what is doable using data. So in order to understand tourism and understand mobility in general, we basically use the mobile device. It is true that all data is anonymized, but luckily people always have the phone next to us. So this is a really important indicator because basically all mobility can be generally tracked, and then applying different algorithms, we can understand overall mobility in general in any particular place across Europe. It is important to mention that all data that we use is anonymized, so we never access to any type of personal information or being able to identify anyone. Not only the data is anonymized, multiple filters are applied to eliminate people that have opted out, and also all the insights are aggregated. So we apply different algorithms to extrapolate to total population before providing all these insights to the different tourism agencies and public administration that we usually work with. What is very relevant is that we can analyze the total number of people that visit any specific location during a period of time. We can analyze different, let's say, indicators by segmenting that data by nationality, origin, and home destination, the economic proxy, age, and other indicators. So this is really, really powerful to understand tourism with a data-driven approach, not only, let's say, running surveys or using other legacy methods. Some of these examples could be applied in improving the efficiency of train services for tourism. Some examples around around this are the work that we're doing in the UK with the UK Network Rail. So basically assessing and analyzing how many people are in a train station across the country in real time, understanding the occupancy of the different trains, and then therefore making decisions if they need to increase or decrease the frequency of different train routes, okay? Really powerful use case that I'll show you now in a moment. As an example, this is what you can see now, because this is real information. So this dashboard has been updated 1-2 minutes ago. As you can see here in Spain, it's 12:15. So it has been now updated right now at this moment. And basically it is showing us how many people are in each of the train stations across the United Kingdom. So we can see some that are quite famous, like Liverpool Street or Waterloo. And we can not only measure how many people are in the train station, we can compare against the capacity of the station. So we can see that some stations are, let's say, with good numbers, good rates of capacity. Others are over capacity, like Bristol or Liverpool Street. We can analyze these flows every 5 minutes. And basically, this is what we can provide in this kind of dashboards. So this is really powerful because for public administration, we can provide intelligence, even real time, to help them understand what's happening, what's going on across the most important locations on the city. Moving on, another example is working even with private organizations like out-of-home advertising players. In this case, we can tell them all the information about how many people pass nearby an out-of-home billboard that they have in any city across the country. So how many people by daytime, by age and gender, also analyzing the mobility, the direction of movement, the speed of movement. And this is really powerful because, for instance, if they manage a billboard like this one near El Retiro Park in Madrid, we can tell them all these type of insights for this particular billboard, which is really powerful for them, not only to measure the performance, but also to do the planning of all the campaigns that they run on behalf of the different advertisers. And another example is providing a better public lighting service and saving energy. Analyzing mobility in general, you can create intelligent cities. So you can also reduce the lighting spent in public lighting while not affecting the citizens' experience. So we've been doing a lot of work here as well with different cities in Europe, and basically using this data and understanding the traffic curves, we can modify the lighting curves without making any significant impact. Based on this analysis, for instance, imagine in any city, like for instance Madrid, we could even, let's say, save as much energy as the equivalent of 90,000 trees on a yearly basis. So this has a really powerful impact, and also is based on data and obviously advanced analytics algorithms. And then I will finalize explaining that all these type of use cases fall, let's say, in a product that is Vodafone Analytics, where we're working with more than 100 companies across Europe, public administration and large corporations, all use cases that you can think of, from out-of-home advertising to footfall to transport planning and so on. Examples like Andalusia, like INE in Spain, INE of Turismo, so basically the Office for National Statistics in our country, analyzing tourism and explaining and providing monthly deliverables with all kinds of tourism, including national, inbound and outbound. A lot of work as well with particular regions in any country, for instance, Andalusia region in Spain, giving them a lot of information about the tourism, the visitor profile, comparing month over month. And Andalusia is a quite interesting region because in the summer, a lot of people change their home residence and they move near the coast. So we see all these kind of trends happening. The European Space Agency working on different use cases and understanding not only mobility, but combining mobility data with images coming from the satellites. So empowering also this information with the data coming from our analysis. And I just mentioned, and in order to conclude on time, the example with the UK Network Rail, providing them a lot of different insights, even in real time, to better make decisions that at the end are improving society and, of course, visitors and tourism in general to have a better experience across our cities. So thank you very, very much. I hope that you have found this as an interesting presentation and as an example as well of using data and big data techniques and machine learning algorithms, the type of intelligence that we can provide to public administration and other organizations. Thank you so much, and back to you.
Thank you, David. Very, very useful. Super interesting, the kind of examples you showed us here. Well, for the next 10 minutes, I would like to ask a couple of questions to our panelists, because both Sandro and David and Professor Dimitrios, they all kind of underpin their presentation on data, and data is kind of paramount. And I think I have kind of two sides that I would like to ask each of you for your views is, how can organizations actually aggregate data, real-time data, as we've seen in here, to support decision making to their business, right? If you think about an hotel, if you think about a tourism organization, how can they actually leverage the existing data that's out there to help them make better decisions? Yeah, do you have a view on that, Sandro?
Yeah. So, as Professor Dimitrios also showed, so there are a lot of data, and there are a lot of technology that it's useful to handle and manage that data. If you see the world right now, we are getting more and more people with skills of data scientists or machine learning or artificial intelligence. Sorry. So we are going into a world that we have more and more people to know how to handle this kind of information on one hand. On the other hand, we are going into a world of low or no code. So the idea is for that institutions, imagine an hotel, if it's a small hotel, it doesn't, for me, doesn't make sense to hire a team of data scientists that will deal with all these problems, because we usually only show the end game where everything is beauty and happening and real time and moving, but it's not like that. You need a lot of information systems, a lot of people working on that, and that is not helpful for small companies or even big companies. So for that kind of organizations, they should take advantage, first of all, of cloud solutions, where they don't have to invest a lot of money in infrastructure, buying software, things like that, so they can pay as they need and for what they need. And also going for better solutions like low-code and no-code solutions.
Excellent, very much. Professor, do you have a view on that?
Let me give you a real example from your region, right? There is Hotel Marina in Olhão. That's one of my favorite hotels in your region. And the time in your region is 11:23, and at 11:23, Hotel Marina, let's say that has got a 60% occupancy for tonight. So that means that there's got another 40% of occupancy. That means that there's got another 80 to 100 rooms to sell tonight. Yeah. Then we talk to David and say to David, okay, who is in the region, who is in a train or who is in a car that is south of Lisbon, and how can we target people that we know that they may be available on a Thursday evening? So it may be people that they don't have kids in school, and that they have demonstrated mobility in the last 6 months. So now you've got the demand on the one side, you've got the supply on the other side, And what you can do is you can match those things. And any service provider, any operator will kind of come up with strategic marketing solutions and packages. And that's my job, to actually address this particular demand that is that is within the parameters and the context. So Hotel Marina in Olhão tonight will not target people who are in Birmingham, but they'll target people who are in the vicinity and can package a very nice thing that can offer to these people.
Excellent, very exciting, the future ahead of us, and I really love that example. David, any words on that?
Well, on the how, I think is a very important and a very relevant technical process. How to take, let's say, anonymized data coming from any type of system, and then generating insights that are aggregated and obviously are privacy by design and security by design in the technical approach. We do this with lots of steps and processes to ensure that we follow not only GDPR, but also all the privacy restrictions and the privacy guidelines that we have in the organization. And then we apply this on different use cases. You've seen the UK Network Rail as one powerful example. There are many others across Europe where we are providing these services to public administration and city councils. They use that information to make better decisions, understanding traffic, understanding where do visitors basically stay in the city, what do they do around when basically they stay for a few nights. It is very important also to understand the type of transport that they use. In general, all this type of information is helping the public administration to make better decisions that affect overall, basically, the infrastructure that they provide on the cities. And at the end, what they want is that visitors not only come once, but they can come many more times to cities and obviously spend their vacation and their money in those places. So lots of different examples. You've seen just one, but if we have another session, I could give you examples of many others. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll ask one more question, and then I'll open again if someone in the audience later wants to ask a final question. We still have 10 minutes, so we'll have time for one more question from me and one more question from the audience. We talked a lot about data, right? But what is actually needed, and again, think about a local organization to leverage kind of the kind of data that we've seen in here that you all showed as examples to actually give tourists a better experience. So Professor has talked about that example on the train, matching supply and demand, but how can really the local companies can leverage that technology and the insights that they've seen from the data to provide tourists with a better experience? Because that's really, I think, kind of the critical point that we want to get at. Yeah.
So there are a lot of different options, and this kind of event, the DISRUPT, where we incentivize entrepreneurs to build solutions, are amazing because of that. Because we have a lot of data, but let's forget it. Let's forget data and technology, and let's focus on business. So the entrepreneurs that are going to apply for this contest should be focused on business solutions. For instance, for the tourists, for companies that will earn more with the tourists. Imagine like the one good example. It started, I believe it was 50 years ago. It was when Starbucks wanted to expand their business. So, and what they did, well, it was not big data or real-time data or whatever, it was data. But the problem for them was how can I open more stores to get more revenue from local or tourists, and they use a lot of techniques based on data, on location, where are the people, where people are going, how people are moving in the streets, if they go by car, if they go by walk. And they opened a lot of new stores in the US, and with amazing revenue. 20 years later, the same Starbucks, they had a different problem. So they had a lot of stores, and they wanted to close the stores that were giving them less revenue to open new ones. So this is the kind of problems that we can solve with data. And right now with the technology that we have, it's like boom, it's like in minutes or in days. But the focus is, what is the business problem? What is the business solution for that problem?
So I guess a call to entrepreneurs to think about how can they use that data and develop tools to help the local businesses. Yeah, good point. Professor?
I think the important thing is, I understand that a lot of your audience today is not from the tourism and hospitality industry. And what we find is that quite often the tourism and hospitality industry is a little bit more human industry. It's not so much into technology, it's not so much into innovation. And I have got a little test for you. Go around in your local area and see how often do they change the menu in the restaurants, and how adaptive a simple thing like food is. You know, every time I come to Algarve and I go to my favorite tavernas, they still have exactly the same menu, no matter whether it's winter, summer, or whatever time it is. So the industry is not that adaptive. There's little innovation that we find so far, although the needs are much more complicated. And I think organizations like yours will need to kind of come closer and explain and find solutions and operate as the interface with organizations like Vodafone to actually see what can we do with the data, what are the business needs, and then go back in the process, look into what are the process that we need to develop, and then go back into the data and understand how the data can help us develop solutions. I think there's huge opportunities here to actually create value products and services that are personalized, individualized, and contextualized. But I think we need to start from the business, because quite often we start from the technology, and that's the way that nothing really moves very fast, because what we call the last mile is not fulfilled. So if we start with the business, we look into how can we actually create solutions based on the process and the data that we've got, then we can create fantastic opportunities for the business to take advantage.
Very good, thank you. Finally, David, any thoughts on better experience for tourists?
Well, just to add that I think it's very important the communication and the knowledge sharing, because I think that across our countries there are lots of really good practices that are happening, that are making a real impact, but sometimes people do not know about this. So maybe we need a lot of knowledge sharing, papers, articles in the media and in the press, so that the community can learn more about all these different use cases and can accelerate the adoption of these best practices. That will be very important. I'm feeding this information back as well to the European Commission as part of my role, so advising them as a data expert. And in summary, I think that you see lots of differences across Europe, for instance. If we try to put focus on all the best practices that are happening, show all the benefits that they are driving, I'm sure that we can accelerate the adoption of many more use cases and projects and initiatives like this. Thank you.
Very good. George, do we have time for one more question, or are we... Right, okay, so we are running out of time. I guess if you have any questions there's a question, all right, okay, sure, go on.
It's a question for David.
It's a question for?
David.
For David, a question for David.
So which is the difference between anonymous and anonymized data, and what is the impact in terms of complying with data protection laws?
Repeat again.
David, what's the difference between anonymized and anonymous data, and what's the challenge in terms of compliance with European data protection law and privacy? And what is the impact in that of that fact in assessing the consistency of the information you gather?
Perfect. So, yeah, this is a really interesting topic. I'm sure we could spend a lot of time discussing. In reality, for data scientists across Vodafone, we never have access to, let's say, an anonymized or open data. All the data that we have access to is say anonymized or pseudo-anonymized. So what this means is that we cannot work for sure on any particular use case that could imply any type of communication, commercial impact or whatever to any individual, okay? So imagine, for instance, a very simple use case. If there were national tourists in Portugal that, for instance, they live in Porto and they go into Lisbon, you could think, well, telcos could have the opportunity to send out a communication about the website in Lisbon for tourists, recommendations about where to stay, recommendations on tourism, let's say, attractions. This is something that could be done if you think about that. But in reality, that's something we cannot do because all data is anonymized, and based on the privacy legislation and GDPR, we cannot send out a communication to an individual based on any type of, let's say, characteristic, like for instance, we see that they are in a different place from where they live. So that is one implication that basically implies that we cannot do this. Having data that is anonymized, what it allows us is that there are certain use cases like mobility or transport or tourism analysis where using anonymized data that then it is processed, applied with different filters and different algorithms, and then different aggregated analyses are generated. That's something that we can do where we have this unique, let's say, data asset that is coming from our mobile networks. And that's why we can work on use cases around tourism, around mobility, around footfall, about the impact of any particular event. That's something that we can analyze. But on the opposite, we cannot do any type of individual communication. So those are the main differences. In summary, is the type of data that we have is always anonymized, and the type of use cases basically allow us to work on aggregated use cases and aggregated analysis, but they basically do not allow us to have any type of individual communication with the people and with clients. Okay?
Can I ask David for a minute? Because this is very interesting. You as an operator, you cannot do, but a lot of applications do exactly that. So if I give permission to Booking.com or to Deliveroo or Foodpanda or whoever to know my location, to know my preference, to have my credit card, then we're doing this thing. So I think the issue with privacy, what's happening is that people are trading off privacy with convenience. Because if I would like, if I'm in Algarve and I'm trying to find a hotel in proximity of 10 kilometers, I don't want to see anything that's in Finland or in Germany, right? So I think what's going to happen is that unless we actually do it as a tourism industry, provide the right applications and provide the right communication to provide these things, other players like Google or whoever is aggregating data is going to come and hit us, and at a very, very high cost. So I think we really need to work together with the legislator and everybody else, because in reality, what people are doing is they are compromising their privacy for the service that you can offer to them. So I think this is a very, very interesting and very long discussion.
Yes. One headline for everyone to know is that, for instance, now in the new operating system that Apple has in iOS 14, they are restricting the amount of data that this type of companies can get. So for instance, now the minimum aggregation is 10 kilometers by 10 kilometers, when in our case, with different algorithms, we can go down to 50 or 60 meters. So now what this is basically evolving is that telcos now can play a very important role, because not the same players that in the past could provide similar services like SDK aggregators. And now basically all these type of organizations are coming to us and say, I would like to learn more about your services and work with you. They also believe that we manage better privacy. As you just mentioned, Professor, they think that telcos manage more carefully privacy than SDKs and aggregators. And maybe that's one of the evident conclusions, is that they make money because they offer free services, so they make money because of your personal data. We make money because of the telecommunication services that we provide. So in this case, using data is a set of services that we are providing in many cases for social good, and in other cases to basically demonstrate that we are also helping organizations transform in the digital world. Okay?
Yeah, very good.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for all the speakers, Sandro, David, Professor, and everyone here in the audience.
A round of applause for this panel.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. It was really enlightening, and lots of lessons to be learned still, lots of inspiring examples. Thank you so much for joining us. Smart Destination panel was this one. Now we are down to digital transformation. We will be needing about 5 minutes to set things up. So if you want to grab some coffee or water and get your seats, okay? Get comfortable in your seats, because we'll have this interesting panel of digital transformation starting soon.